Okay, hi friends. How are you? It's pretty late, and I'm sorry I left you hanging there with part one of this annual new moon in Capricorn on this winter solstice. I really, really would like to encourage you to watch every single part of this series that I'm doing because this year is going to be bonkers. And if you can start laying out your map of the year so you can see where you were as things got started, so that you're not lost and freaking out as this year goes on. Because here's the thing, you cannot take shortcuts this year. You don't get to shortchange yourself or anybody else. You have to do everything correctly. You have to abide by the rules and the authority and the way things are. If you try to cut corners, be cheap, take the easy way out, what happens is that because not only are we essentially demolishing old structures and laying down a new foundation at the same exact time, that if while we're destroying everything, which if everything's getting destroyed and a foundation is being laid, if you cut corners, skip steps, you're not thorough. There's big planets that are retrograding, including Mars, including Venus. Mars is a warrior planet. Venus is a planet of, income and gains. If you do a shoddy job in those areas, when Mars rolls back over it or the sun goes to square it, it's going to cave. Don't even bother. Don't even think about doing something cheap. These are the structures that need to stand, and they will be reinforced for decades to come. So if you want to think back, Saturn is known as the taskmaster. He's known as Father Time. When we hit certain crisis points in our lives, it's when Saturn is teaching us a lesson and telling us we have to grow up. Such is the time around, the adolescent years, ages 13, 14 years old. Kids have Saturn is opposite where it was when they were born. And not only do you get the rebellion, but it creates a lot of obstacles and restrictions for teenagers. And they're supposed to rebel. They're supposed to be finding their way and doing it, finding their freedom. The high school setting is a safe setting for them to mess stuff up and correct it because it's not as forgiving once you graduate. So when they turn 13, 14, and some of them can be real hellions because it is so difficult for them. It's at those crisis points that you're having a crisis point of Saturn. Saturn is opposing to where it was when they were born, and if structures weren't laid down correctly or they weren't forced to take responsibility for their things and age-appropriate things, they have to face the music and they have to do it. And then all of us hit about 27, 28, 29 years old, we have our Saturn return, and Saturn comes back in our late 20s and forces us to grow up, to be an adult now. In Hollywood, I can't remember what they call these actors, but there's kind of a crisis, and it's kind of a known thing in Hollywood when when child actors hit about 27, 28 years of age, they struggle. Some of them end up taking their lives because they cannot deal with the pressures of their Saturn returns. And likewise, there's other points in our lives, but those are the most prominent ones. So when I tell you, don't cut corners this year, don't be afraid. You're going to have to confront your fears this year quickly. If you haven't confronted your fears, or you feel like you're having scarcity and lack of resources, because that's the nature of Saturn and Capricorn. Saturn is about scarcity because Capricorn knows the long haul, the long game, and it knows that it has to have everything it needs to last. So that is why Capricorn can just get away with the basics so that they can spread things out. This is going to be for people who have a really difficult time reining in their spending habits or being wasteful, cheating, not abiding by the rules. This is going to hit hard. It's going to hit them really, really hard. And so that's what I want you to know, first of all. As this year goes on, and I still want to do a thing on fear, that there's nothing to fear, but fear itself is so true. We need to get to the cusp of confronting our fears and knowing when we're feeling fearful. Because I don't know if you noticed tonight, I could feel the shift when the sun went into Capricorn. Because the air felt just a little bit not as flamboyant, not as exaggerated. It felt slightly serious. And then the more it went on, the seriousness felt really real. I could almost feel like what I guess someone would consider the devil dancing around. Like, hey, are you afraid? Let's make a deal. I'll show you what we can do. Ignore that guy. Ignore that guy. You have to be resourceful and have a plan all the time, because you're going to be tempted all the time this year to feel better and escape when things get uncomfortable. Now, it's not going to be like this all year 24/7, but we are going to hit some extended periods when you're going to feel like, oh my gosh, when is this going to end? But you know what? We got through this 2019. And in 2019, we did not really have any power. And we were kind of at the mercy of which way the winds were blowing and which way the tides were flowing. Now we have a little bit more balance and some more empowerment. So we're going to get through these things. Some of you are going to really struggle. Some of you are going to enjoy it, especially for those of you who like work and doing these kind of detailed things. People are going to need you. If you're good at this stuff, look for someone who's kind of struggling and help them out. Maybe organizational planning skills, seeing the long game. Okay? One more comment before we move to this. The eclipse that we have it's on the 26th on the East Coast. For the rest of the U.S., it's on the 25th. This takes place at 4 degrees Capricorn. The last time we had an eclipse at 4 degrees Capricorn was on December 25th, 2000. This was the set of eclipses that ushered in 9/11, the attack on 9/11. Did a lot of research on those charts, the current events, Bush and Putin. Putin warned Condi Rice when they met. Bush's first European trip abroad was, I think it was in Slovenia, you guys. I mean, the irony coming full circle. And he was meeting with other people, but it was the first meeting between Bush and Putin. And there's so many parallels to the content of conversation and expectations by Russia with Bush that Putin expressed in Helsinki. My jaw dropped. In fact, when they met in June, July in Slovenia, out of the blue, Putin said to Condi, hey, you guys got to be careful, the Taliban and Al-Qaeda, because they might attack you guys. How Kremlin-y is that? He knew then. Condi, and I guess in her book, was like, what? That's weird. And then look what happened. Going back that year, 2000, okay, so we had those eclipses December 25th and 2000. Well, by the time we get to July 2001, just a couple months before 9/11, Russia and China signed a treaty of friendship agreement. Bush signed the first tax cuts on June 7th. There are so many things that happened in that year that related to eclipse click dates or triggers that led to 2001. Now, I don't want to sound totally conspiracy theory, but Putin does fund the Taliban, and the rise of those groups are related to him. There's a lot of information that relates 9/11 back to Stubb. And you know why we call him Stubb is because when he was KGB, when he was a peon, they called him Stubb because he was short and he was the coffee boy. So Stubb has a lot of connections to what happened in 2001, and we are hitting an eclipse that got everything kind of motion forward. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens, especially since Mayor Rudy was the mayor of New York. And the Manafort Brothers Construction, they landed the contract to clean up the epicenter of the World Trade Center within days. They were down there with like the day after cleaning up. Now, I'm not going to go down that route. It's worth looking into because there's a lot, just as we connect the dots with everything else, there's a lot there. I did not mean to talk about that this long. So this series I'm doing, I can only post parts here and there because it's, Christmas is coming up. It's pandemonium everywhere, so I'm just going to get these parts out as I can. But the purpose is to get a good grip, a good frame of mind, and a plan before these eclipses hit to really refine where we're going so we can retain our stability. And you know what? We can do this stuff in joy. If you mind Saturn and Capricorn's rules, and Jupiter is there, the benefic, to kind of make work fun. You might feel the rumbles, but you might be propelled forward. It might be really good. But there's going to be people around you that are going to be really struggling this year. So please be empathic to their situation. What I want to show you with this, so this is the winter ingress. The sun went into Capricorn at 11:19 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So this is over Washington, D.C. If you noticed here, this is in January eclipses. These are our July eclipses. Then we have an eclipse in November and 2 in December. There's 5 eclipses in 2020. That's a lot. They're going to be working really hard to make sure we have a lot of change happening. I would have preferred maybe 4 eclipses, not 5. So I hope that gives you incentive now because it's going to start kicking butt and taking names later. With these current eclipses, it's going to roar in November again, okay? There are some things I'm going to show you. We have the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. Pluto moves much more slowly than Saturn. Saturn on March 22nd is going to move into the sign Aquarius. Aquarius has two rulers, Saturn and Uranus. Some signs have two rulers because Uranus was discovered much later, once they had technology to see it. So the original ruler of Aquarius actually is Saturn. The modern day ruler is Uranus. Saturn's going to move into Aquarius. I don't even want to comment on what that's going to be like because I'm just trying to get my head around this. So it's going to give us a preview of what because when Saturn moves into Aquarius, it'll be there for 2.5, 3 years. This is just the preview of that, which is going to happen. Then it's going to turn retrograde on May 12th, and it's not going to travel very far, only a couple degrees. And then it's going to retrograde, which means it looks like it's going backwards until September 30th. And then it'll move forward again. So there's going to be a lot of Saturn activity over here. Jupiter will remain in Capricorn all year, as will Pluto. Mercury is going to retrograde in February 17th in Pisces, and it'll go direct in March. It will come back here a little bit in the later degrees of Aquarius and move forward. It won't be as stifling as the last March retrograde when Bill Barr would not release the Mueller report. That'll be interesting. We should have more developments from there. This is what you need to know. Mars will go into Aries on June 28th. You will be feeling Mars slowing down even in May. And what Mars is going to do, it's going to be in Aries for about 6 months. And it's going to go forwards and backwards and forwards. Mars is the planet of action. As it's going forward, guess what happens? Click, 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 click. It is going to hit all of these eclipse click dates. So everything that happens at our eclipses, starting on the 25th, 26th, and then the 10th, the 12th with the conjunction, Mars is going to square this, square this, square this, square this. We are going to have some major weather, major earthquakes, hurricane, because this is summer. It's gonna be hard. So Mars will be going through Aries in June. I mean, it's gonna be the sun's gonna be over here, and it's just gonna be so far away from the sun. It's just Aries. Your planet Mars, thankfully, is in your sign, but it's not able to defend you as well because it needs to shut down and take a little nap. So it's going to go through Aries. On September 10th, it's going to retrograde at Aries 27. It's going to go backwards and click, 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 click. It's going to click all these. Oh, and by then we'll have eclipses over here. So it's going to be clicking these as two. September is going to be a hard month. June. So September, it's going to retrograde. On November 14th, Mars will go direct again. It'll take a while, but it will finally wake up and get up to speed. The other thing that's happening, Venus is going to go retrograde. She's going to get sleepy. So Venus is going to, on May 14th, it's going to go retrograde at 21 degrees Gemini. Guess whose sun is 21 Gemini? The Photus. And yes, I say F-O-T-U-S because he's no P. He's definitely an F-er. O-T-U-S. So the Photus Venus is going to go retrograde. Now, I do not like when Venus gets retrograde because this is when the Republican Party is their nastiest and meanest, and they make the grossest legislation and come up with the ugliest ideas when it comes to women and their health. Something is going to happen with Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook. I do not know what, but I know that when they went public around 2011, 2012, that was during the transit of Venus across the sun, and that is in their chart. I knew something very bad was going to happen with Venus, women, and children because of Mercury, Gemini neighborhoods. At the time, I had no idea what it was going to be because of this Venus transit of the sun and the eclipse click dates. Well, what happened 6 months later was Sandy Hook. This is going to revisit Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook. I don't know what's going to happen. It's really important because it's going to go right over the midheaven in Washington, D.C., and then it'll retrograde back into the 9th house. I expect we'll hear a lot about Russia then and Facebook. But then finally, everything is orbiting normally. Oh my God, Mercury is retrograde in the summer. We have retrograde. And then, except for this Mars retrograde stuff, we're going to have more peace towards the second half of the summer. Libra is going to be difficult the first day of fall. That month is going to be a little bit more difficult, but then it's going to be easier then. But all of this is going to be ugly. It's going to be hard the first part of the year. Oh my goodness, especially as we get into the spring. This is what I wanted you to see. 21 minutes. Let me get you some cards. The 4 Tarot. What's on top? Page of Wands. This is going to be really important for this entire year. I'm going to throw out the Taroscope right now for ZQT, Z Queen's Tarot channel viewers. And what is going to be most relevant for all of us this upcoming year. This lasts for the year. So it's going to give us a little roadmap so that when things are easy, when things are difficult, we're going to be able to see what that's linking to and what is related to it. So we're going to be coming back a lot to this because this is history. See, the astrology geek in me is like, this is amazing. We're going to have a Taroscope diary and we're going to have this all figured out and we're going to have the best stories to tell and we're going to be able to link all this stuff together. And then the human physical me is like, crap. I want a break. So, okay, these are all right side up. I am going to flip. Which ones need to be flipped? Ooh. This is the Facebook card. This is Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook. Wah. I just said something's going to happen to him. Okay, and what else needs to be reversed? Oh, there's something to look forward to, you guys, in May. Zuck. It's gonna suck. Okay, let's get these laid out. Tarot. This year, I'm gonna start laying out the cards here, and then I'm gonna go around, and then I'll do the ascendant because we want to know what's the most important things, and I'm gonna put these face down because I don't. Whoa! Oh crap! Well, there you go. I would say this is the most important thing for the year, the devil. The deals you make with the devil, the shortcuts you're going to take or not. I'm putting this on the ascendant. I'm not putting all this other stuff on the ascendant. Okay. Wow. Okay. You see what I mean? What we're headed for this year. Hello, Mr. Devil. How are you? I'm making no deals with you. I'm going to abide by the rules. I'm taking no shortcuts. I'm not going to leave things out. I'm not going to cheat people. I'm going to be such a good girl this year. Well, we'll see about that. Okay. Fourth house, home, defense. Fifth house of the sun, love and creativity. The sixth house has to do with day-to-day work. The seventh house has to do with our partnerships. Eighth house, shared resources. Ninth house, philosophy, long-distance travel. 10th house, our public house. All of us at ZQT, this is just for us. Our hopes and wishes, our retreat, spirituality, secrets, hidden enemies. Our first house of identity, ZQT viewers. Our second house of income and gains, our self-worth. And our third house of communications, digital communications, publications, neighborhoods, short distance travel. There's so much here for you guys. You plan ahead, get your ducks in line, stick to the plan. Capricorn scales the highest mountain and always strives to get to the top. People who are lazy and don't want to do the work make deals with the devil to avoid it. Don't. Okay, ZQT viewers, starting at this eclipse, it is December, we have the Ten of Pentacles, resources, mineralize. This is the defense of home, your security. Stockpile things that are worthy. Your health really depends on good food, high quality food. Quality is what I'm getting. Fifth house of the sun, creativity, love, your soul expression. 8 wands. Things are going to happen quickly. It's going to jolt you and get your attention. You're going to want to get out there. Information's going to be happening quickly. You're just going to probably want to pre-plan all the time. So this is now the sun has moved into Aquarius, which is like the end of January. The sixth house, day-to-day work, the sun is in Pisces. The government, this is government. This is government, this is order. These are structures, establishments. They're going to play an important role in our lives come, March. Our partnerships. This is around the beginning of spring. We have Seven of Cups reversed. Now, Seven of Cups, we don't know what we're doing. We don't know what we're doing. Seven of Cups, you're going to decide. It's no longer going to be confusing. The eighth house of shared resources as we get to the end of April, May, beginning of May. The Queen of Pentacles. I like this because it's springtime. Things are blooming. We're settled. Money. Don't listen to the snake. You knew I was a snake before you let me in. Who kept saying that? In the ninth house, long distance travel, ZQT viewers. There's going to be money news. Look forward to that. The 10th house, what's crowning ZQT viewers this year, especially come summer? The Magician, your skills. 11th house of hopes, wishes, friendship, science, revolutionary. Ooh, 3 of Wands. There is a plan that we thought was progressing, which might fall backfire. But we're also coming off of eclipse energy at that time and Mercury retrograde. The 12th house of secrets, hidden enemies, retreat, isolation, jails, hospitals. Oh. Someone's going to jail. For viewers, this, we had a really difficult summer with some of the garbage going on. I don't know if that's what's going to be going on again. There's an 8. The first house of identity, who we are. Fighting. End of Virgo season, beginning of Libra season. Now remember I said Libra season is going to be difficult. There's going to be a lot of fighting, a lot of provocations. You can see where our difficult and our easier parts of the year are happening. Second house of income, gain, self-worth. Ooh, the star. You guys, this is going to be easier towards Halloween, maybe. Mid to end of October, beginning November. Ooh, these are the elections. Mercury goes direct on November 4th. I'm not sure what day the election is, but there's a star. That looks like a POTUS to me. Oh, God, I so want to cheat right now. Page of Swords. This is how we communicate. There's just information more. I'm just going to throw real quickly. If this is the POTUS, can you tell us what happens with the POTUS on November 4th? Who do we have? Someone new. New action? New plan? Which leads to heartbreak. Oh, crap. Action was taken. A new plan was taken, which at that present time leads to heartbreak. And what will happen is, you guys, a Queen of Wands. Does this mean the president is a woman? Is it Pelosi? It's at the root of this. Nostalgia, looking back, children, the youth vote. What's the challenge with this Three of Swords? Oh, that's Putin. Putin's got a heartbreak. Wah, wah. Thoughts and prayers, man. Give me some clarifiers on our president. He's disappointed in Trump, but we have good news. We are complete. We're at the end of this insanity. This is not Trump Russia. This is America, full of so much life and potential and opportunity. Our families are whole. So we'll see what happens. I like that. Okay, we still have to get to pick a card. Next part is part 3. And yeah, you're going to need this part. You're going to need this as part of the roadmap. So no cutting corners. That's why I'm making this so thorough. Okay? Oh, this is good news. This makes me very, very happy. Yay! Okay. Thanks, you guys.